Hi, it's Jane, and still working on another hat. Um, got this much done of this one so far. And where is the hat pattern? I don't know where it's at. Here it is. This is the one I'm working on right now. So, had some nosy cats getting into things. That makes me nuts. My fibro is really being a pain in today. Sinuses are acting up, you name it. It's one of those days. And I'm not quite sure why. 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more row of this, and then we add the pretty stone-washed berry color. So how is your day going? I've already had a mini nap this morning. I'm filming this Wednesday morning. I will be going out, have a friend who needs a ride to the dentist. So I will be taking her to the dentist for teeth cleaning in a little bit. So thought I'd hop on here and we'd do a little discussing of stuff. I was watching and I can't think of the YouTube channel right now, but they were talking about the whole thing with the government shutdown, how the representatives and whatnot and some of the senators who were away were trying to make their way back to Congress because they needed to vote today. And on that, and representatives on the bill that was put forth by the Senate yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, the shutdown ended. And do you know what those dirty senators did? And I don't know if it was Democrats and or Republicans. Figure it's probably both of them. They put in there a little stipulation about data information that was gathered on them, or is gathered on them, that it's not allowed, kind of basically, and that for each incident that it is, for each account that they have, in other words, if they have a personal account, phone number, email, personal email, and then they have their business account, business information, those kind of things, including all of their social media and whatnot, that if it is found that any government entity or anything like that has done any investigation into them for data mining or data retrieval of things, that they would receive $500,000 per incident, retroactive to 2022. And guess who gets to pay that? We, the taxpayers. Why is that in a clean resolution bill? Why is that not a standalone bill on its own? So the House is facing this dilemma. Do they go ahead and pass the CR with that in there? And then they have to go back and bring something that pulls it out of there? Reverses it? That's dirty. And that's why I say that Congress believes they are the kings. People keep whining and complaining about Trump, no king. No, your kings are in your Congress, both House and Senate. Since they passed this kind of nonsense in the dark of night, it slipped in the bill. You can go read the bill. You can get it at senate.gov. Look for the continuing resolution. It's pages, I think, 217 to 230, where they've added that in. Sorry. That just, quite frankly, pisses me off. It's not right. So they're always finding a way to screw the taxpayers, make money off the taxpayer ends. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed with that addition too there. There are some other things in there that they slipped in that are wrong. And the good thing is that it does have to go back to the House to be finalized and passed. So there's a part of me that hopes they vote no because of those kind of things. Do I think they will do that? No. I think they'll pass it. But on this YouTube channel, they were talking about the representative senators that were out and were upset because they couldn't fly in. They couldn't get a flight. See, sinus is driving me nuts. They couldn't get a flight in because there had been 10% kind of flights and, a lot of bump ups and backups and all that other kind of stuff. You have like Marjorie Taylor Greene complaining because she had to ride a 14-hour trip by train to get to D.C. Wah. I mean, you guys are the ones that brought this kind of nonsense on. So, I don't know, just annoying. And then, Trump put out there that everybody but high-end earners would be able to receive a $2,000 tax dividend from the tariffs. Yeah, well, we'll see. What are they going to go by? What are they going to go by? If you've not had to file a tax return because your income doesn't meet the necessity to file an income tax return, which a lot of people who are on Social Security find that. Does that mean you're not going to get one? So you're going to go by that? And if it really did happen, I hope they'd start with the Medicare folks first. And then go from there. Medicare, Medicaid. Then the taxpayers that weren't already covered under that. I don't know, it's kind of crazy. And then you have Trump complaining because when they presented the case on the tariffs to the Supreme Court, they didn't do the numbers correctly. They submitted the wrong numbers. How it would affect if they did cancel his ability to do tariffs or these kind of trade deals, which quite honestly, every other president has done this. So what's the difference? Oh yeah, it's Trump. Yeah, okay. Got it. So, he's talking about that if it is and you have to repay and cancel all these investments that are coming into the U.S. with these companies that are moving companies into the U.S. and those kind of things, that you're probably looking at $3 to $4 trillion. And so they didn't represent the numbers accurately. I don't know. But we'll see what happens, right? And my son is gay. One of my sons is gay. And, he was making this big stink about that they were going to overturn gay marriage and all this nonsense. And I'm like, I don't think so. Of course, that was all based off Kim Davis's request that they do that. And I had no doubts that they were not going to overturn that. I had no doubts of that. I mean, the way that the law was written, you know? So I just find that kind of funny. And of course, the Supreme Court struck down her appeal. And we all knew it was going to happen. But you had a lot of the LGBTQT, RSV, LID, whatever they're up to now, community, screaming and hollering that Trump was going to take away the right to marriage. It wasn't Trump who made the appeal. It was Kim Davis. But can we say histrionics? Did you see all the nonsense that happened at Berkeley last night? Well, Tuesday night? With the Turning Point USA that had their tour scheduled there, and Antifa and a lot of left-leaning loons. That's what I'm going to call them. Left-leaning loons. Raising a stink. Because they didn't want the fascists there. While they're acting like fascists. Can't make that up, can you? And I'm not real sure why people think that they have a right to free speech, but no one else does. You know, it boggles your mind sometimes when you stop and think about that. You know? I had watched a TikTok earlier this morning and it had me giggling. The gal had put up something she had made. It was like a wall plaque that she had crocheted for one of her friends. And it was supposed to, the gal that was crocheting it stated that she's dyslexic. But, and on the plaque, it had shoes, oof, OOF. So she had shared that on TikTok, and it just had me giggling. You know, and I basically told her I can't wait for, at the end of the day, to take my shoes, oof. So, and I do watch a lot of crochet, knitting, sewing channels on TikTok, along with funny cats, you know, that kind of thing. But I do have to tell you, I am sick of seeing that girl that's calling the churches. Like I said, I'd like to see her call pregnancy resource centers and see what they would do. And do I think that she is trying to do something? Was she trying to do a social experiment? No. I don't think that at all. I think she had ulterior motives. Like I said, I think that she was wanting to go viral. And my biggest question to her is, now that it has gone viral, are you going to take that income and put that towards baby formula in pantries all around you? Because food pantries don't always have baby formula. So, or even put them in pantry boxes, some of the blessing boxes around you. So I don't know. I don't know if she's going to do that or what, but this is where I think a lot of people earn the name grifter, because she has continued to do this, and she swears up and down she's not trying to be negative, that she is all about positivity. Yet you have a lot of people in these comments that are non-Christian saying that is exactly what the Christian church is supposed to do. Well, not the church itself. The people who are Christian should be doing that. But, you know, can't argue with idiots. What can you say? So, and it's hard when you are on social media to get away from those things that show up on your feed. I mean, you can go in and do a search for balloon characters. My search was basically funny cat videos. So hopefully, when you do that and you watch quite a few one after the other, there is hopes that it will take you off that feed. But the algorithm is strong, man. It's very strong. So it's hard to get off that. And I try not to block people there. Just because I don't think it's necessary, So hopefully this will die down eventually and they'll realize, it's not that big a deal. But my biggest thing is those that are non-Christian dictating what Christians should not be doing with their own churches, their own pantries, their own money, those kind of things. And I watched one fellow that was talking about, he had led a ministry team with the pantry. No, it was benevolence fund to help the community. And his yearly budget was less than $3,000 for that. Sparing anybody who donated to the benevolent fund. Now, we have a benevolent fund at my church, but people have the ability to donate and to designate where they want it to go to, like to women's ministries, children's ministry, Awana, to the missions teams, because our church does support quite a few missionaries. Or if you want it to go to the benevolence, you have those opportunities to do that when you give online. Even when you give in person, you can put a note on it that you want it to go to this ministry or that ministry. And it gets there. So, but I just don't think people realize that churches have budgets. And they have to be accountable to the people in the church who are giving them that money for those budgets. And like I said, I have no idea how these large churches do their budgets. I'm not in on their business meetings. I don't know if they're paying high dollar mortgages for their campuses or, their live feeds or whatever. But there's also a part of me that, sorry about the nose, it's driving me nuts. There's a part of me that also says if those people who are in the church that claim to be Christian have found out that their church has come back and they're not offering to help, this supposed scenario, then instead of stopping going to church, I think you should talk to your pastor, talk to the elders, the deacons, to find out why. Why wouldn't they help, in that case? What is the deal there? And at the same time, there's a part of me that says, tell me you've not been to your church's yearly business meeting without telling me you've not been to your church's yearly business meeting. They're a pain in the rear end, and usually they are public open to anybody, but the only thing is members are the only ones that are allowed to vote. You do have to have a quorum. You do have to follow Robert's Rules of Order. I mean, and it's for the business of the church. So, I just find that interesting. And I will tell you, a lot of church services have Sunday school after church. Some have it before. And there are a lot of people that never show up for Sunday school service, but just show up for the service. And the minute it ends, they're out of there. And there are a lot of people that don't come for the business meeting. Don't stay for it. So, you only have yourself to blame. You don't know what's going on with your church. Don't be afraid to ask questions. What's the worst they're going to tell you? Get out? Well, if they're not answering your questions, you may want to get out anyway. It's just my opinion. I saw something where someone said AI Atlas was sort of exploding different things off of it. Now, I haven't watched Dobsonian Way this week at all, so I don't know what's going on there. And I do enjoy his podcast, his podcast, and this stuff. Find it interesting. I always like to learn a little something. And then you can always go find out the truth. I also enjoy Michio Kaku. I do enjoy his physicist take on a lot of things. But at the same time, you have to be careful because some of the things that are portraying him as being the person doing a snippet or a video is not him. It's AI. AI is that good. But there are still some issues with that. And many times you can see it in the mannerisms. Because if you are a fan of Michio Kaku, you actually know his mannerisms. You know what I mean? And you know that people just don't do this and stay this way for 45 minutes. So, should be a clue. Also should be a clue that raccoons and bunnies don't jump on trampolines like that. You know, like one of the funny cat videos I saw showed a cat hanging off a railing like 2 feet over a trampoline, falling to the trampoline and then doing several jumps, turning over, doing flips. AI. So yeah, you have to be careful of AI because it can deceive you. So what do you think the hot thing for crochet is going to be this year? What do you think the hot item will be? We had that one year that it was pocket shawls. Do you think that'll come back? I know there's a lot of things around granny squares again this year. So I'm kind of wondering if that trend will continue for crochet. Be fun to see, won't it? Of course, my trend right now is hats. Hats, 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 and more hats. Did determine I won't be able to get a Christmas Afghan done unless I do it with the knitting machine, and I may do that. Crank out a couple of tubes and put a blanket together that way. Or maybe I'll just do panels. That might be fun. The only thing I'm worried about is the panels curl, you know? Because knit just curls so much. Of course, I can always either pick up stitches, knitting around the edges of it, or even crocheting a border. So maybe I'll do that, I don't know. Or maybe I'll just wait and work on it and do it for next year. I do have quite a bit of Christmas yarn back in the back. I can make a few things. So we'll think about doing that. Got all your Christmas shopping done? Or do you actually go out for Black Friday? Our Black Friday, we have a meeting with all the folks that are caregivers for my little ladies, and we're meeting over at the house because her son will be in. So gives us all an opportunity to meet with him and talk with him about our concerns or anything like that. Now, the group of us have decided we're going to get together and buy a memory foam topper for the bed, because the bed that we're sleeping in is extremely uncomfortable. It is a very hard mattress. I don't even know if you can call it a mattress. It kind of feels like you're sleeping on box springs, to be honest. But it's hard, and it's uncomfortable, and everyone agrees it needs something. And when we were talking about it, I said, you do realize if we do get a topper, talking about, dividing up the cost between all of us for the topper, that if we do get a topper, we would also probably have to get at least bottom sheets that would go over it, because the sheets that they have there barely fit the mattress. I haven't quite figured that out. How they barely fit. My first thought was, it's twin bed. I mean, not twin bed. Queen bed. And maybe they're using full sheets. Which there are some sheets that's when you go to pick them up, they'll say full queen. But they're pretty tight on a queen. There is a slight difference on the measurements of the mattress. And I mean it is slight. It's like maybe 1 inch to 2 inches. So, yeah. I don't know. I have to show you, Ronan has been very nosy. This is medium weight interfacing, fusible. I had picked this up because the roll is one of the easiest things to use. I don't have to worry about going, like to Walmart or whatever. And generally when Joann's was around, I would buy a bolt of whatever interfacings I use for sewing projects. It's harder to get bolts now. I'm not sure if you... as I was saying, it's harder to get bolts. I don't know if you can get bolts off of Amazon or not. I have seen them give you a price per yard, but I've not seen where you could purchase the whole bolt. I used to do that with fusible fleece, with the real stiff craft fuse, and then one of the other stiff, because there's a craft fuse that's like really thick, almost like cardboard. Then there's one that is not as thick as that, but it is still stiff. So I used to buy those on the bolt, so I would have them ready and at hand. So once I started getting to a certain point where I was getting low, I would just order a new bolt from Joann's. If you do it wisely with coupons, it wasn't too much out of pocket. Well, it's always too much out of pocket, but it wasn't too bad. One of the interfacings that I get for my bags, I get at an independent seller, which is Woven Fuse, and I do get that at Got Interfacing. And she has some pretty good prices. She has quite a few different products you can purchase. I've tried a couple of them. Some of them I like. Some of them I'm not real impressed with. But you do have some sample packs that you can try. So that's a bonus. I think I actually answered that. I did accidentally. I was trying to turn off the ringer. Oh well. So, yeah. Those are kind of things you have to have in your background if you're using them. This is an interfacing that I can use with a lot of other things. Sewing clothing, those kind of things as well, too. I don't really like doing the sew-in interfacings because then when you wash those, they kind of separate unless you do quilting on them. And that kind of defeats the purpose unless you are quilting. I think I told you about the someone had commissioned me to make something. They still have not completed the process with it. So I am thinking about next week opening it up just to anyone who wants it if they want it. They don't, then I'm also thinking about just putting it in to the pile for Operation Christmas Child next year. And I've decided I don't know that I will be doing personally commissioned items for a lot of folks anymore. Some people that I know, trust, that have come through, yes. But someone that just asked out of the blue, I don't know. This is kind of ruined it for me, if you get my drift. And I don't know, I've thought about making some more crossbody bags, but I have a lady that wants one, but she wants one that's kind of springish. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. She doesn't want it until spring. Her person doesn't have a birthday until spring. All right, fine. Let's wait till then. So don't go shopping until then. I would imagine I'll probably have some in the shop. Then, I don't know, maybe, maybe not. You know, it's one of those things, you just kind of laugh. Have to go, okay, whatever. All right, people. And she wanted me to keep one of the bags back that I had at the craft fair for the spring. And I basically just kind of told her, no, not going to do that. Not happening. Sorry. But, you know, sometimes I wonder, you know, because if I see something that I like for someone, I'm thinking about their birthday, Christmas present, whatever, generally I'll go ahead and buy it and put it back. I mean, I have a tote that's just for Christmas presents, birthday presents, those kind of things. I'll put it back and put on the, you know, usually I'll put a note on it that says it's for so-and-so for their birthday. And then I stick a note in my phone that says I've already purchased a gift for that person. And it's in the tote. And I had someone tell me, well, that just seems like you're very organized. No, my life is filled with disorganization. However, I found it much easier to purchase gifts along the way than to wait until just before. So that's what I do. I just think that's the best option around. And that's what I'm going to do there. You know, it's kind of like I told you before, it used to drive me nuts. Kids would come home from school and say, I need a birthday present for so-and-so. Their birthday is Saturday and it's Thursday evening. Used to tick me off. So what I would do is I would find things that were on sale throughout the year or even clearanced because they were last year's model, toys, games, those kind of things. Put them in a tote in the closet. Say, okay, go get the present. Go pick a present. We'll get it to them. And I got to tell you, there were times when Christmases were pretty lean. And I was glad I had done that because I could also pull from it to give my kids some presents. And they weren't allowed into the closet, you know, just to go rummaging. They always had to have a reason to be in there. And generally I was right there with them so that they couldn't pillage it. That's why I used to call it pillaging it. Didn't want them to go nuts, you know, thinking they could take what they wanted out of it as well, anytime. But, like I said, there were times that Christmas was lean, you know, because of bills or something that happened, an unexpected thing like, oh, I don't know, a carburetor having to be replaced on an old car, you know, cost a few dollars, would have taken away from any Christmas money that I had planned. Well, that was brilliant, Jane. I don't even know how I did that. But anyway, that, like I said, that was something that I used all the time. I do that now with Operation Christmas Child, you know, finding different deals, those kind of things throughout the year. one of our ladies with the Dollar General had found a manager that had told her when she has penny items, because she went in shopping for penny items and has found quite a few penny items, and they're great toys. They're great toys that she has picked up for Operation Christmas Child. And the manager told her she would let her know when they were available, and she would even put them aside for her for Operation Christmas Child. Now, this is a manager that is a big promoter of Operation Christmas Child, so she helps quite a few different people that do that. And managers could actually just pull those items off the shelves for the penny items if they wanted to and toss them. So, either way, it's a win-win situation. But I do find it interesting. I have never been able to find a penny item at any of the Dollar Generals I've been to. Have any of you? So I was laughing and teasing our gal. I said, well, maybe I need to come shopping with you when you hit them. Because apparently I'm missing them. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to finish up this hat and weave in the ends and make the pom-pom, and I will see you again tomorrow. But in the meantime, everybody have a blessed day and try to do something kind for somebody else. See you soon. Oh, and go read that part of the bill. I mean, it's an easy read. Like I said, you can download it, as a PDF and go to page 217, read through 218, see what I'm talking about. It's pretty easy language. Yeah, there's some legalese in it, but you can figure out what they're doing. Do you think it's right? All right, see you soon.